Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. I am super excited to spend some time with you today. We are going to be talking about a complete overhaul. That's right, a complete overhaul. They say you don't need to reinvent the wheel, but I think we might be in a little bit of a position here today where we need to do some reinventing to make sure that we can continue to play the infinite game. Now, when it comes to the infinite game, part of what's important is that we are resilient, right? We have to be flexible. We have to make sure that we are moving with the times, shifting with the market. We cannot continue to do the same things that we were doing before when the market is shifting around us. And so today we're going to talk a little bit about what that looks like, right? Reinventing the wheel. Yes, I know. I said it. They always say, don't reinvent the wheel. And I'm telling you, we might need to do some reinventing of the wheel. So I want to start off today by just saying something, three words that I need you to all think about. Those of you that are franchise dealers, those of you that are not franchise dealers, the three words will look a little bit different, but we're going to start off with three words, and those three words are certified pre-owned cars. Listen, these are the future. For the next 15 months at very least, the certified pre-owned world is going to be the biggest opportunity for those of you that are in the franchise world. Now, those of you that are not in the franchise world, obviously you can't certify a car. You can't have a Toyota certified, a Chevy certified, so on and so forth, GM certified. But what you can do is you can create your own program, right? You can create your own program with your warranty company. You can create your own program that is very similar to a certified pre-owned. And then, of course, you can market that with the proper verbiage of how that vehicle is inspected, ultimately the overhaul, what it all comes with, the value add, so on and so forth. So if you are a non-franchise, I want you to study and look at the certified programs that exist from General Motors, Chrysler, Honda, Toyota, so on and so forth. And we want to create a similar experience for your customers on those particular vehicles, late model, low mileage, so on and so forth. All right. So a certified program is going to be the future. Now, I know when it comes to certified, sometimes we run into things like the cost. There's extra cost that comes along with certifying a vehicle. I completely 100% understand that, but trust me, the additional investment is going to be, it already is showing itself to be the future and the expectation of a customer in a world where we do not have very many new cars to choose from. And we're going to talk a lot about that today. There's been a lot of news when it comes to the new car world from the manufacturers. There is a lot of news, and all signs are pointing to this is a duration, this is a season, this is going to last a while, and quite possibly reduced inventory will be a part of the manufacturer's plans going forward. We've talked about this before in this group, but it's super important that this is incredibly clear. They make more money when you have less cars. Now, I know Brian Benstock and some other people kind of talk on the other side, and they say, hey, well, the manufacturer's not going to give up market share. As soon as they get the opportunity to push more vehicles out there, they're going to go ahead and do so. I totally get that mindset. I totally get where that's coming from. However, I personally believe that is not going to be the motivating factor. The stockholders are ultimately going to drive the decisions of the manufacturers. And if we can have less market share and make more money, that's ultimately what is going to happen. You should know this by now. Money drives everything. Speaking of that, we want to make sure we're really paying attention to the big boys. I am having many conversations with people, and the conversations are going like this. Glenn, I can't find any inventory. And I'm like, what do you mean you can't find any inventory? Oh, well, there's no cars out there. What do you mean there's no cars out there? There's no new cars out there, but there are plenty of used cars out there. Yeah, but Glenn, the prices on these things are ridiculous. Okay, well, ridiculous compared to what? Ridiculous compared to what you're used to paying for the cars? Totally get that. You know what else? You know what other prices are ridiculous? The prices of lumber. are currently ridiculous. The prices of livestock is currently ridiculous, right? Use these air quotes, ridiculous. The price of certain foods, ridiculous, right? Everything seems to be ridiculous. Well, the reality is what once was ridiculous is now becoming the norm. And guess what? Even with all of these ridiculous prices, every stinking industry out there is continuing to thrive when it comes to the area of profit. So is it ridiculous, or is our mindset around it what's ridiculous? So we have this conversation. And then from there, they tell me, I looked at 43 different cars over at the auction and I couldn't buy a single one. CarMax bought them all, or Carvana bought them all. So let me explain something to you about CarMax, Carvana, some of these bigger organizations that have billions of dollars to use. What they have behind the scenes is a team of people that have created software. The software is very much actually identical to software that's used in the stock market. So there's software in the stock market that tells people to buy, sell, buy, sell, buy, sell, buy, sell, buy, sell, buy, sell, buy, sell. And it happens in a fraction of a second because it's based on real-time data. And so the computer says, yeah, buy that right now. Yes, everything says buy this right now. And then the computer says, no, don't buy, or sell, right? Those same algorithms, that same type of software has been created by the big boys. They have teams of people that create this. So you've got your used car department or your used car skills, and you're going up against this team. Now you're using a book, you're using Viato, you're using data that is based on the last 90 days of transactions. So it's 90 days behind, okay? What happened 90 days ago, you're now making decisions on today versus these other organizations that are making decisions based on real-time transactions to the second. This is what's happening right now. So who do you think, whether you've been in this industry 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, who do you think you would want to rely on and trust when it comes to deciding whether or not you pay a certain price for a vehicle? Do you want to rely and trust on a book that is 90 days old? Or do you want to rely and trust on software that is up to the millisecond with transactions? Carvana and CarMax are buying all of the cars. Why? They're buying all of the cars because it's very, very clear. The algorithm and the system is telling them very, very clearly that this is a profitable endeavor to do so. 100%. If they're buying, you should be buying. If you go in and you notice they're not buying anything, that might be a sign that now's not the time to buy. But let's use the big boys to help us decide. I was having a conversation with Alex Flores recently. Alex Flores is a dealer who's got multiple dealerships. He's been able to grow them very successfully. And he was telling me he was driving around in San Antonio, Texas, and big, large franchise dealers were sitting there with empty lots, refusing to buy used cars because of the prices. Now, his lot's got 500 used cars on it because he sees and understands the opportunity, which you should too. So I'm telling you, we lean in on used cars now, especially late model, low mileage, ones that we can certify or put some type of rep or program around. Listen, the time for a complete overhaul is now. Okay? It is so incredibly important that we start to look at every aspect of our decision making, every aspect of our dealerships. We have to look everywhere across the board and see how we can now benefit and take advantage of the opportunities that are in front of us. I'm going to give you a prime example that I heard from Brian Benstock, #1 Honda dealer in the world. And Brian Benstock was talking about how when you have a boat that sits on water, the boat sits on water, and over a period of time, some barnacles are going to start to build up on the bottom of that boat. And every once in a while, you have to take the boat out of the water. You have to take it out and you have to inspect it. And you have to scrape off all of those barnacles. Now, when you scrape off the barnacles and you put the boat back in the water, you're going to notice that it travels so much easier. on the water, that it picks up speed, that it accelerates. Like you will feel a noticeable difference once you remove some of that resistance, once you remove these barnacles that are slowing you down. Your dealership is filled with barnacles right now. It's filled because it's been years since you took it out, lifted it out of the water and said, we need to scrape this, and this. I'm going to give you some examples of areas that we need to be looking at and scraping. Before we do, I want to make sure to solidify this concept and idea in your mind. I need to make sure when you walk out of this training, you go, you know what? Glenn has the right information. Glenn is accurate and correct. And we need to do an overhaul now. Okay? Right now. So listen, here's what Honda shared. Honda had their big dealer meeting recently, and Honda shared that the chip shortage means vehicle inventory likely won't recover until 2023. Okay? 2023. That's when we're looking at a recovery. Now, they're just saying that the vehicle inventory will recover in 2023. What they're not saying right there, and they're still learning, they're just people just like you and I. What they're not saying is, I don't personally believe that once we get past the chip shortage, I don't personally believe that once we have the opportunity to produce the inventory, that they're going to. Okay, they're not just saying that. They're just saying that it's not going to recover until 2023. And my guess is even when the manufacturing process recovers, the delivery is still going to be slower and less volume than what you were used to before. I firmly believe that. Now, I also want you to keep in mind that Volvo announced this is a good time for a change. What an understatement, right? This is a good time for a change. The Volvo Cars CEO sees lower inventory and a higher margin retail model in a post-COVID world. Okay, so Volvo Cars CEO Hakan Samuelson believes a new auto industry retail model will emerge from the disruption of the COVID era. And it will be one that takes some of the inconveniences of the past year and uses them to recalibrate the industry's market share driven retail practices. Okay, he's basically saying exactly what I'm telling you. Now, this article goes on to talk about how Volvo has a plan of basically going to a Tesla model. You have a couple pieces of inventory in the showroom. People can come in, they can test drive that inventory, look at it, touch it, feel it, kick a tire. Then they can order their vehicle, and their vehicle will be delivered either to their home or to the dealership at some point in the future. The days of walking in, grabbing a new vehicle, walking in, grabbing a new vehicle, finding one you like, and then turning around and immediately taking that home, those days are heading out the window. All right, the model is antiquated. They are personally doing an overhaul. And I apologize, I'm adjusting this camera to make sure it's in the right place. Okay, so Volvo's saying it, Honda's saying it, everybody's going to be saying it here soon. They're going to be saying the same thing. Okay, they're slow rolling you on it a little bit right now because they are still uncertain. Nothing against manufacturers. I had somebody check me last week. Somebody checked me and was like, hey, bro, don't be blaming the manufacturers. They're just like you and I. They're trying to figure this out. This is just as new for them as it is to us. I agree 100%. 100%. Okay? But let's play a game. I want you and I to play a game real quick. I want you to fast forward real quick. Imagine you're in the future. Okay? You're in the future. You got your dealership, your kids. Maybe if you got kids, they're a little bit grown up. So on and so forth, married off. They got babies of their own, right? All of these things. But I just want you to fast forward. Head into the future. Okay? Now, in the future, let's just imagine a dealership world where new cars are order only. Customer comes in, or they just visit online. They talk to whoever, they order their vehicle, it comes later, okay? New cars are order only. You cannot buy a new car directly from the dealership lot. I'm not saying this is 100% going to happen. I'm just saying I want you to just imagine for a second that that's what it looks like. New cars are order only, okay? Certified pre-owned vehicles are now basically your new cars, okay? The certifieds are the new cars. And this is a tremendous opportunity for my non-franchise dealers, for my independents, right? Because now basically you can get in the new car game. The definition of a new car is going to change, right? Right now, a new car is a brand new car. In the future, at least for the next 15 months, a new car is going to be a slightly pre-owned, what we used to call slightly pre-owned. That's going to be your new car, right? Certified. So you can now get in the game. You can compete with the dealer down the street because you're going to have equivalents in inventory, at least to a certain point, and new cars will start to come back, but it won't be like it used to be, okay? So new cars are order only. Certified cars are your new cars, right? Now, on those certifieds, you can do things like lease them. You can lease that car just like you would a new car, right? There are used car leases, so we could start diving into that a little bit so that we can offer that to the consumer. Of course, you can do your retail transactions. You can extend your terms. You can do all of those things that you normally can do, but we add that leasing component, and we also have the extended warranties and coverages that come with certified or a certified-like program. Those are basically our new cars. All right. Now, then your older cars that don't necessarily fit under some sort of certified program, those are now your used cars. We treat those as used cars. We recon those as used cars. We market those as used cars, et cetera, et cetera. Nothing really changes there. And then you have the opportunity to sell as is cars if that's something that you're interested in. And if you want more information about that, I've got many dealers that are having a tremendous amount of success selling as is vehicles. Okay. So that's the dealership model. New cars are order only. Your certifieds are basically, you treat those like you have been treating new cars for the last 50 years. Then you have your pre-owned, which is anything that doesn't qualify under a certified program. And then, of course, we have our as-is vehicles that are sold as is. Instead of wholesaling those things off, we ultimately retail those. We make sure the consumer knows everything about it. We attach the RO directly to it. Here's what's wrong with the vehicle. They can choose to pay those things, which we have a dealer here who's had a lot of success putting the ROs on those as-is vehicles, and he's had the consumer actually pay to get the repairs done right there in his service shop. So now he's feeding the service department as well as selling the vehicle. It's a benefit on both sides, right? Pretty incredible. And as we head over to service in this futuristic dealership world, they are already predicting a massive mad dash on good qualified talent coming up here in the upcoming months and years, right? The days you're already experiencing a worker shortage. That's already happening. And so what's going to happen to offset that, to get more people into the market, is we're going to have to pay people more money. Simple as that. We're going to have to pay people more money. So they're predicting now that a technician, somebody who's got a couple certifications under their belt, not necessarily a master tech, but that type of position is going to be a six-figure position in the future. Okay? I'm going to say that one more time. Your technician with maybe a couple certifications under their belt, not a master certified, your mid-range average technician, they're talking about salary, or not salaries, but earnings in the six figures in the future. Okay? So if this is the case, if we've got these, we've got this dealership where new cars are order only, certifieds are like new, used cars are a little bit older, things that don't qualify for certified. Then we have our as-is vehicles. Then we've got technicians that are working that are now earning six figures a year, okay? 6 figures a year. So if that is the case, if that's what the dealership landscape looks like going forward, one of the most important things right at the gate is you must have an incredible process in place to turn and merchandise this inventory. You've got to be able to get it in, get it pictured, get it serviced and get it turned around and get it on the lot as fast as possible. So here's where we go back to maybe an old component. I'm going to call it an old component of the dealership world. Okay. This is where we go back to the turn. The speed of the turn is going to matter. The speed of the turn is going to add up to dollars, especially if we're paying technicians $6 figures. The speed of the turn is going to be so incredibly important. Now, the vehicles are not depreciating like they used to, so we can take that pressure off as far as how long they stay on the lot, but the pressure of getting them ready to rock and roll and to sell, that pressure has to be intensified. We have to have an incredible system in place in order to be able to turn the amount of used cars / now new cars that are going to be required for you to be able to sustain, for you to be able to thrive, for you to be able to play this infinite game. So listen, I suggest, if you haven't looked at it, this is a program we still use over at Dan Cummins Chevrolet in Buick in Paris, Kentucky, and the other 2 stores that are part of that organization. This is a product called Rapid Recon. Rapid Recon helps you track every single day exactly where every single vehicle is in the process. We're talking about shaving off minutes. I want you to start thinking, if you can shave off 5 minutes from each and every single stage, every stage of the game, from getting a vehicle to the lot, stocked in, over to the service department, serviced, reconned, up into over to detail, cleaned up and photoed. If we can start shaving 5 minutes on every single stage of that, multiplied times however many cars you've got going through that service department, we're talking hours, days, weeks of time. And all that time is money, baby. All that time is money. So make the small investment in Rapid Recon, which, by the way, they don't even know I'm telling you this. I don't have any type of collaborations or deals with Rapid Recon. Get Rapid Recon and get it in place. I loved this software because I was able to walk in every single morning and look, and I could see red lights, yellow lights, and green lights. Red lights meant the vehicle had been in this particular bucket for whatever length of time I set up was deemed too long. Right? So if a vehicle was over in the service department for more than 4 days, then we had a little yellow on there. If it was more than 7 days, now it was red. Why has this car been there for a week? We got to find out. And all the notes are there. The last person that had the key, the last person that touched it, all of that stuff's in there. So yellow means it's about to break the threshold. Maybe we pick up the phone and we call, hey, why is that in the yellow? Oh, actually, boss, we were waiting for approval from you. I sent you an email about it the other day. Oh, you did? I missed the email. My bad. Let me look. Yes, approve. Go. Let's go. Let's go, right? So it creates that. So I would walk in every day. Here's what's red. What's going on? Walk out. Look at it. Do we have the piece? Do we have the part? Solve the problem. Go. Boom. Here's what's yellow. Okay. All right. Well, yep. I know a little bit about that car. I know why that one's there. It's okay. Oh, let me pick up the phone. What's going on with that? Yeah. Okay. All right. You need me on that? No, you got it. Okay. We're not going to hit red, right? We're not going to hit red. Okay. Great. Beautiful. Love that. And then the greens are the ones that are flowing through exactly how they're supposed to. So Rapid Recon is a great system. I highly suggest the investment. It will change your ability to get these cars through the process as fast as humanly possible. And that is going to be crucial. Absolutely crucial. I can't stress it enough. That is going to be crucial for your success moving forward. All right? Now, listen. I know some of you are saying, 6-figure technicians, that's crazy. I can't do that. I can't afford that, so on and so forth. You can't afford not to. And you better get on it sooner than later because the market is already condensing. The pool of talent is already shrinking and getting smaller. It's already happening. And people are out there hunting. They're headhunting. They're plucking. They're pulling people. You've probably lost people out of your service departments as of recently. It's probably already happened to you. So it's happening all around you. You've got to get in the game. Not only are we recruiting on a massive level, but we have to create and promote something that is so above and beyond and over the top of anybody else that everyone else looks at you and says, you're crazy. There's no way. You guys want to go work over there? Go work over there, because that's what we need. Because we need techs. We need this system to rock and roll. We got to get these cars turned as fast as humanly possible, and it's going to cost you a little bit of money to do that. So pay them and pay them now. It is going to get worse. I promise you. It is going to get worse. You think it's hard to get techs now? Dude, it's going to get worse. Now listen, I'm not just going to yell that at you and not give you some development pieces behind that. I want you to run a little bit of math real quick. And this is where we have to reinvent the wheel. I need you to do some math. These are some of the barnacles that are on the bottom of your boat that are holding you back. Old thoughts, limiting beliefs. I know each of you are sitting here thinking like, golly, there's just no way I can make that effective. There's no way that I can get an effective labor rate. Like it's not going to be effective. And here, I'm just here to tell you. I want you to start doing some math real quick. The reason you're not finding it cost effective or going to look at it cost effective is you're looking at it from a certain angle. You're looking at it from a fixed ops angle. I need you to look at it from a variable angle. I need you to start looking at your technician's pay from a variable angle. All right, let's just do some math real quick. If a technician is making $8,000 a month, okay, $8,000 a month, it's $100,000 a year, 96 to be exact. But if a technician is making $8,000 a month and that particular technician, right, if that particular technician, how many cars can they get out a day? How many used cars can they turn a day? Okay, that's the question you need to ask yourself for this math problem. Now, once whatever your answer was, I'm going to reduce that answer. I'm just going to take it down to 1. Let's just say a technician can get 1 car a day serviced. Let's just use that number, okay? He can get 1 car a day. That means that at 1 car a day, say he's going to work 25 days a month or whatever, right? That's 25 cars a month, or 30 if you want to count every day, okay? So let's say 30 just because you're counting every day. Right now, gross is up and is going to continue to be up for a little while. So let's just use a conservative number because I don't want you to think these numbers are crazy, outlandish, or extreme. So let's use a conservative number. On each of those cars, you're going to generate $3,000 in gross, front and back, okay? $3,000 in gross, front and back for each one of those cars that technician turns out. So that means that if one tech is doing 30 cars a month, that one tech is going to generate $90,000 in gross for you. $90,000 in gross when you sell those vehicles, right? So $90,000 in gross minus obviously commissions and expenses and so on and so forth. All those things pay in place. But $90,000 in gross in exchange for $8,000 in pay. Pay 8. He generates or she generates 90. Now, something tells me from what I know about you that you would do that all day long. You would invest 8 to return 90. Would you not? Right? Even if you've got some costs and other things that come out of that 90, I think it's safe to say that you would invest 8 net to get a 90 gross, right? And that's how I need you to start looking at your technicians. Getting those cars turned and the speed of the turn, and obviously we can make more gross on them. If you paid attention to Jonathan's session on used cars, he gave you a perfect formula on how you can make even more gross on these used cars, right? They're starting at a $5,000 bump from cost right out the gate. Then after 30 days, dropping that down, $3,000, $3,500 reduction. If they don't move it then, they drop it down. They look at Viato at the 6-week mark and see where they can get a little more competitive and aggressive. They're still getting rid of it, right? They're still getting rid of it. So that's even more opportunities. But using these very conservative numbers, 1 car a day, $3,000 front and back end gross, you're exchanging $8,000 a month for $90,000 in gross. That's how I need you to start looking at it. Stop looking at it at just the fixed and effective labor rates, and let's start looking at the whole picture. See, it's time for you to look at everything a little bit differently. I want you to start looking at techs as $100,000 a month growth generators, because that's really what they are. Okay? So that's one of the first things that it's really important that you look at. Let's look at these techs in a different way. Let's change our mindset around who they are and what they generate for the dealership. It is going to be the most important aspect of your dealership moving forward. Okay, so that's number one in the futuristic dealership. Now, the second thing that we need to start looking at when it comes to the futuristic dealership, right? This dealership where new cars are order only, your certifieds are treated like new, anything that doesn't fit in a certified program is considered a used pre-owned, and then we're selling our as-is vehicles instead of wholesaling those off if the market drives it, right? In that futuristic dealership, the second thing that I need you to look at is where can you cut costs? Where can you cut in expenses? And where can you cut personnel? You see, we are in the future, and if in that future dealership, new cars are order only, certifieds are you treated like you're new, so on and so forth, and we have the modern technology that we have the ability for people to buy vehicles from their home, so on and so forth, right? If all of that changes, do we need all of the staff members that we currently have? You see, before it was we need one salesperson. I think the industry average is one salesperson for every 10 cars we want to sell, right? There's all this time that it takes for them to go on a test drive and to fill out paperwork and so on and so forth. All that's changed, right? You've all enhanced your process. You've all sped up your process. People can go through 70, 80% of the process online. In some cases, they can go through 100. So do you still need one salesperson for every 10 cars? I don't think so. I mean, I've been an advocate of one car a day for every a salesman should be selling one car a day every day that he's at work. But I even think with modern technology and the shift in the market and the way that things are happening, that even that number should be elevated. Should be more like 1.5 cars a day, maybe 2, because the speed of the process is so much faster and the opportunity with the pent up demand, the supply and demand chart the way that it is, they should be able to actually move that number forward. Now, what I'm seeing is I'm seeing a bunch of salespeople that are moving backwards. They're selling less because they're making more, which goes into the second aspect of this particular component, right? Part 2, line B, when we're looking at how do we cut some expenses, do we necessarily need all of these people in place in order to be able to operate in our future dealership? The second thing we've got to really look at is pay plans. Like, first, we need to run lean. Second, we need to reevaluate our pay plans. I mean, we've kind of reached a place where we have the proverbial order takers. Now, I don't mean that in a bad way. It takes a great order taker in order to deliver a great experience for a consumer. Incredibly, incredibly important. So I don't mean that to demean or to devalue. But if 80% of the work is getting done prior to the consumer ever even showing up to the dealership, and in many cases not ever even showing up at all, should we be paying salespeople on a pay plan that required a whole lot of effort, energy, and work over on their side, and now we don't have that effort, energy, and work. It's not in place. So what does that new pay plan look like? I don't know. That's something you got to think about. It's individual for your store, and maybe you can reach out, contact me, or in the Q&A sessions we can talk about it with some of the other dealers. But the pay plan should look different because the job is now different. And we can't look at pay plans the way we used to and say, okay, well, we're going to do this much, and then we're going to add gross 25%, 30%, 35%, blah, 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 all of those things, right? The whole model's got to be revamped. We got to look and we got to sit down and we go, what do we ask them to do now? What are we providing them to do now? What is the actual job, right? And what should that job pay? And what do I need out of them in order for them to earn that pay? You selling 10 cars and making $8,000 a month doesn't work for me. You selling one car every 3 days at your work and making $8,000-$9,000, that doesn't work for me. I need you to earn that. I want you to make 8, 9, 10, 12, 15, 20 as a salesman. I want that from you. But in order for you to hit those numbers, in order for you to make that kind of money, I'm going to need some work out of you. And right now, the system is set up where work is not required. So therefore, our pay plan must be adjusted. They should not just be sitting back and reaping the benefits, which I am seeing across this country right now. So when it comes to cutting costs, first we need to look at where we can run a little more lean. Second, we need to reevaluate pay plans. And then, of course, third, we just need to clean out any excess in variable. Any excess in variable needs to be cleaned up, right? Whether it be certain marketing promotions, certain things that you're doing in the lobby, like how much money are you spending on snacks and drinks and things like that when the environment has changed and not as many people are coming in your showroom as they used to, right? That number should be adjusted. We need to go through and just look and see where are these barnacles that we can cut off that are slowing us down. If we're going to be paying our techs more to get a faster turn, to be able to bring in more people, then we need to make sure that we are offsetting by A, making sure to generate gross on the vehicles that we're selling, and B, making sure we're not wasting any dollars on things that no longer serve us. You see, you built your systems, you built your recurring vendors, all of those things, all the things that you're spending money on were built on an old system. This is a new system. This is a new system where new cars are order only, certified pre-owned cars are treated like new cars. Your used cars that don't fit under the certified pre-owned are your used pre-owned vehicles, and then we're selling our as is, and we're selling them to a consumer that is doing 80% of the work up front, if not 100%, and not even coming into our dealerships. It's a different model than it used to be before. So it's time for you to cut any variable expenses that are attached to the old model. Make sense? Makes sense. Now, all of these things are incredibly important and you need to put them in place right away. But then there's another integral component that is ultimately the most important component of the whole thing. And that is, as you make this adjustment to newer order only, certifieds are your new, pre-owns are the ones that can't be certified in your as-is vehicles. As you move into this new market with six-figure technicians, as you move into all of those things, what's important is you tell the story to your employees as well as to your consumers. You have to tell them the story. Because if you don't tell them the story that you're changed, that you're new, that it's a brighter day, that you're leaning into the opportunity, if you don't tell the story, then they're still going to be stuck on the old story and they're not going to understand the moves that you're making. You're not going to get the results. You're going to change all the things, but we're still going to have an old mindset because we have not educated our staff or educated our consumer base on all of the different components of how we now do business and transact in the future. So when it comes to telling the story, what are the key components? Okay, the first part of the story is you need to answer the question, why certified? Why certified? What are the bonuses of certified? What are the value pieces and components of certified? You should have imagery. You should have signs up in your dealerships, on the walls if you can. You should have hang tags that are in the cars that are talking about the benefits and values of your certified program or your similar to certified program if you're an independent. There should be hang tags. There should be marketing materials on the wall. Our commercials should all be talking about it. Our videos that we're posting on social media should be talking about it. Like, you have to tell the story of why certified. Why is that important? Why does that make sense to a consumer? Why is that so valuable? What are all the touch points? They don't know. We assume that people know. People don't know. And we have to remind them. They used to say you had to hit somebody 7 times for it to stick. Now they're saying that can be 17 to 21 times that they need to see your messaging before it makes sense to them. So imagine what it's going to take when you're using a social media platform that's only going to let you reach 10% of the people. You're using other marketing effects that are only going to let you reach maybe 15% of the people or even 5% of the people. And you've got to get in front of every single one of those people 17 to 21 times. So you should have touch points everywhere, on your websites, on your emails that go out, on your when you answer the phone, the receptionist should be saying, "Hello, thank you for calling blank 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 Chevy GMC Buick. Just wanted to know," or just, I'm sorry, I'm not saying this right. We want the secretary to say, "Blank blank, thank you for calling blank blank. We are the home of the certified pre-owned blah blah blah." Yes, you are going to get this, right? Value adds got to be in the delivery. It's got to be across the board. It's got to be the message. You've got to tell the story of why certified. Then you have to go a little bit further. Once you've told the story of why certified, now you also have to tell the story of why used. Why a used car? Why should I buy a used car versus necessarily ordering my new car and waiting 3 to 6 months for it to get here? Why should I buy a car with miles that's already been broken in versus one that's hot off the truck? Like, what are the benefits of used versus new? And if you don't know the answers to those questions, type it in. Go to Google. What are the benefits of used versus new? And it'll give you a laundry list, and you can start telling the story of those benefits. Tell those stories in your emails. Tell those stories on your walls. Tell those stories in your marketing. Tell that story why used is better, ultimately better than new. And some of you are like, well, we're still got to sell the new. You're going to sell the new. We've been selling new cars for 70 years. You're going to sell the new. The ones that people come in and order and wait for. You're going to sell those. Trust me. You saying that you're the home of the certifieds, you promoting why used is better than new is not going to cost you a single new car deal. What's going to cost you a new car deal is when people that are looking for a new car don't understand the benefit of getting a certified, don't understand the benefit of a used car. That's when you're going to lose deals, not the other way around. So go all in, man. Go all in, push the marketing everywhere. Used is better, and here's why. The third part of the story that you're going to have to tell them is why now. Why is now the best time for you to buy a car? You know, I saw an interesting post on Instagram the other day. It was from a realtor. And the realtor showed that the a price of a house was $300,000. $350,000, but it was at like a 2.5% APR, which is current kind of market. Then right next to it, they showed the exact same house after the market dips, and it's now a $300 house, but the APR on it is 4.5%, and the payment is actually $300 higher on the $50,000 less vehicle or less house. I thought it was really, really impactful to help people see that, right? And to put some urgency, because people in real estate are saying, well, the market's gone so high, I'm just going to wait till it goes back down. Great. Well, when it goes back down, the rates are going to go up. So price goes down, rates go up, and ultimately your payment, you're going to pay more for the house if you wait than you are right now. You need to buy now. We need to have a story like that of why it's so important that they buy that used car now. Not wait a month when prices maybe dip or maybe go down. And really the story behind that is just look at the trends over the last 18 months, folks. We have heard from the manufacturers directly that we're going to be involved with inventory shortages until at least January of 2023, Mr. Customer. And so actually this used car that you're looking at right now, this certified like new car that you're looking at right now is most likely going to be more expensive in 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months than it is today. You need to buy now. The urgency is get it while you can. Rates are still low. Let's get you signed up. Now is the time. Don't wait another second, right? Why now? It's so important that we're telling the story of why now is the absolute best time for a consumer to buy a car. And then the fourth piece of this, telling the story. First, you want to talk about why certified. Then we need to talk about why used. We need to talk about why now. And then ultimately, overall, in all the story and branding, you have to answer the question of why is it better? Why is it better that they do business with you? Why is it better, the experience that they're going to get at your store versus other stores? Why is it better that as they make this decision to buy a slightly used car from you, or even if it's the decision to order a new one, the story has to tell them why you are the place to be and you have the solution to their problem. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not trying to scare you into anything. The opportunities around us are incredible. I believe it's the greatest time ever to be in the automotive industry. but I need you to get ahead of it. I need you to be proactive and not reactive. I need you to start making the changes now. I need you to pull your boat out of the water and start scraping off the barnacles. Start looking at everything a little bit differently. You see, the game to play right now is chess. Chess, you're going to want to get 5 to 15 moves ahead in your mind. Do not allow the market to catch up to where you are. Stay ahead of the pack. Be proactive. See the future and make the moves now. Do so, and you will not only survive, but you will thrive in this incredible season that we have ahead of us.